John 14, verse 27, Jesus was saying, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. He says, I do not give you as the world gives, which means there is a difference in the kind of peace that God gives, and there is a peace that the world gives. So it is why we cannot always be led by peace, because there is a peace that requires understanding. There's a peace that surpasses all understanding. So Solomon is saying, do not forget where you've come from and where you're going. Why? Because the Torah contained the books of Genesis. Genesis is a book of genes. I said this when we're studying the book of Genesis. When you break down the first 5 letters of Genesis, is genes, because it's the book of genealogies. It is the book that tells you about your DNA, your identity. So he's saying, do not forget where you've come from, your identity. Exodus is the book that captures the captivity of Israel and the deliverance of Israel from the Egyptians. Do not forget. Leviticus is the book that captures how to live holy and to be set apart. I read somewhere that when these children would read the Torah, they will start with Leviticus, not even Genesis. They will start with holy living before they go into identity. The book of Numbers captures the journey and the failures of Israel in the desert. The book of Deuteronomy literally means the second law. In Exodus, God had given them the 10 commandments. In Deuteronomy, Moses was now expanding and explaining the covenant and the commandment to the children of Israel. So Deuteronomy means the second law, or the repetition of the law for a new generation. Because the first time God gave Moses the commandment, and the children of Israel at that time said, we cannot go into the promised land, God said, none of you will enter. So by the time Moses was writing Deuteronomy, he was writing it to the next generation of Israel, who would now possess the promised land. So he had to write it again. What is Solomon saying here? Do not forget your history. Why? Because history will continue to repeat itself if you forget. There's a popular saying. It says that history keeps repeating itself because nobody is listening. When do you have to repeat yourself to someone? It's someone who you believe is not hearing what you're saying. So you keep repeating yourself. History keeps repeating itself because people are not listening. They are not learning from their mistakes. And so Solomon is saying history will continue to repeat if you forget. Verse 1b says, but let your heart keep my commands. That word keep means to guard, to watch, to keep secret. Keep the mitzvah that you have been taught. You have to understand that our hearts are like GPS system. Whatever you put in determines the coordinate. When you use Google Maps and you say, I want to go here, when you punch in your destination, it has identified the coordinates for where you're going, and your coordinates will determine your journey, will determine your path. When Solomon is saying, but let your heart keep my commands, he's saying those commands are like coordinates. Let your heart keep these coordinates. Don't veer off, because they will determine the direction of your life. Solomon is literally telling his son, guard your heart to ensure that the coordinates that have been installed from your childhood don't change. This is why the Bible says, train your child in the way that he should go, so that when he's older, he will not depart from it. Put in the coordinates right now when they are still young, so that when they are older, the path has already been set. Now, verse 2 now says, for length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. What is he saying here? So he's saying that as a result of you not forgetting your history and your destiny, and as a result of you guarding the coordinates of your heart, it will produce length of days, long life, and peace. Now, when I was reading this, I'm like, long life, what does that mean? Length of days and long life. Does that mean that if we don't forget his law and keep the commands of God, that we are guaranteed long life? And I'm like, I'm not sure about that, because we've seen many people. Jesus lived 33 years. Did he live a long life? No. But he kept the entirety of the law perfectly, but he only lived 33 years. Why? That opened up another realm. Let me show you something, because I got to discover something. Let's go to Psalm 139. I realized something. Psalm 139, verse 16. David is speaking here, and it says, your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. Hold that in your back pocket. Check it. It says, the days fashioned for me. Now let's go to the book of Job. Job chapter 14, verse 5. Job is saying here that since his days are determined, the number of his months is with you. You have appointed his limit so that he cannot pass. Let me read this in the NIV. It says, a person's days are determined. You have decreed the number of his months and have set limits he cannot exceed. So long life is not in becoming the oldest person, but in attaining the length of time that has been assigned to you from heaven. God, in creating everybody, has already apportioned the time that you're supposed to spend on the earth. Your ability to ensure that you attain that length of time will come through obedience. So length of days, long life, is not to see who is going to live to 100 or 120. God judges, heaven judges length of days based on how aligned you are to the number that has already been predetermined from heaven. Now you see why in Psalm 90 verse 12 says, teach us to number our days that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Teach us to know that time is going. Time is not unlimited. Time is limited. There are people who say God has shown them when they will go. It's possible that God can reveal that. I don't know about that, but here it's saying, teach us to number our days. So he's asking God to, like, show me, teach me. Yeah, teach us not to waste time, that we may apply and be obedient, because we don't have unlimited time here on earth. And who is noticing that verse 1 says, do not forget my law, but let your heart keep my commands. Keeping his commands comes after do not forget, because you can only keep what you still remember, which shows that the law and the commandments are complementary. So verse 2 says, for length of days and long life and peace they will add to you. And I've shared here before how there's a peace that the world gives and there's a peace that God gives. John 14 verse 27, Jesus was saying, peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. He says, I do not give you as the world gives, which means there is a difference in the kind of peace that God gives and there's a peace that the world gives. I remember reading this, I was like, whew. So it is why we cannot always be led by peace, because there is a peace that requires understanding. There's a peace that surpasses all understanding. There's a peace and that's the peace that the world gives, is the peace that requires understanding. That when you see your environment, when you see that X equals Y, when you see that things make sense, you're not like, oh, I have peace about this situation. That's the peace that the world gives, is the peace that requires understanding. The peace that God gives is the peace in the storm. The peace that surpasses all understanding. The peace that when you see your surrounding, it makes no sense why you should be calm, but you are calm. When you are obedient, when you are following the principles of God, even when your surrounding doesn't look like it, because you have built your house on the rock, you can have peace that when the storms leave, you will still be standing. That the storm hasn't come to destroy you, it has come to test you. That is the peace that surpasses all understanding. Peace doesn't prevent storms. It keeps you safe even within the storm. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this clip and you'd like to watch the entire Bible study session, make sure you click this link here. And if you've been blessed by this channel in any way you feel led to support, please consider clicking the link below. And for any amount you give, you get a free Bible study masterclass where I teach you how to unlock the 3 dimensions of the word. Literally, I'm going to be teaching you how to study the Bible in 3D. If you also feel led to support us on a monthly basis, consider becoming a member of the YouTube channel, where you get some exclusive perks as well, like becoming a part of our monthly book club. Thanks again for watching, and God bless you. See you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.